Sup shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be reviewing some tracks off of an album called Aquamarine Flouxetine by Krol Kleks. Now if I'm not mistaken, this is a solo project helmed by an individual named Philip Liziecki from the Chicagoland area. And this is we'll switch over to here. There's quite a lot of material on this record. We're going to be checking out 7 tracks off of this record today. I was supposed to have done this later on, but I added an extra to this review, and I need to get it done sooner, so that's fine. The track that we're going to start with is called Being Ourselves Elves, and we're going to listen to 6 more. I'll make myself a little bit smaller, and we're going to listen to this record from start to finish. In fact, I don't need to be small for this. You can see that, right? Can we get a good balance between? Yeah, I think that's about as far as we can go. That's fine. We're going to listen through each of these tracks, for each of the 7 tracks from start to finish, and hear what we think. Let's go. A tambourine. We got some strummed acoustics. Apparently this is based on the 90s shoegaze type of music. Cool, I think the vocals have helped to even it out a little bit. I understand more of what's going on now. The sun is slowly seeping down, draped in long black hoods, lurking on his sacred ground. The forest here has been ours. The woodwind melody you've got there is so positive and bright, and then it kind of gets a bit sadistic and twisted in that second half, doesn't it? That's unusual. Clarity. Nice clarity to the guitar tone though. I will talk about the vocals, don't worry, we're getting there. Being Ourselves Elves, I'm hearing, is it about being in the life of an elf or something like that? I'm hearing stuff about the birds and the branches and the vines and all that kind of stuff. How could you have the nerve to tamper with our forest reserve? How could you lose your temper? How could you have the nerve? How could you have the nerve? It's not a kind of music that I'm totally familiar with, but I like it so far. It's got folk vibes, but it also sounds a little bit avant-garde, but that's okay. It kind of sounds like it's tripping out a little bit. And I kind of like that. It's not trying to take itself too seriously. I think that's really cool. I like how we have the low and the high as well. I think that's really cool. It's a nice contrast between these 2 different vocal tracks. I think they harmonize really well, and it's a nice addition to the mix. And I've got to say, the mixing and mastering so far is really splendid. I'm really pleased with what I'm listening to. I mean, that's the kind of the sing-along kind of vibe to it. It's kind of the music you could sit and listen to whilst you're sitting down at a campfire. An interesting tale that's being told. It's just that melody, boom, 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 that's making me feel as if something bad is about to happen. That doesn't sound as cheery as... yeah. I like how you get that tension note, it evens out to this, with the call and response with the strumming and the arpeggiated melodies. So we're going back to these verse stanzas here. How could you ever... we're going back to those messages there. So, yeah, I mean, like, the main thing's been continued. It's more of a vibe than anything else, isn't it? Yeah, it's an interesting vocal style. I mean, like, when I say that I'm unfamiliar with the genre, don't get me wrong, I've listened to music like this. It's just, it's weird to hear it this well produced. It's an interesting situation that I'm in. You can tell that a lot of care has been taken to record the instruments well, and the performances for the most part are... What was that, though, on the left? I'm liking the separation from like the need to stay within a specific key signature or scale. We've got some chromatics intermingling with the main theme, and I think that's really cool. It makes it sound a little more unique. It forces you to pay attention, and it gives you an indication that these charming major open strummed chords, there's a little bit more that meets the ears. Consistent groove on the drums. You can nod your head along to it. Eighth notes, keeping that consistency in the tempo. How could you... I'm hearing how could you ever nerve. That's the word I'm hearing there, and I don't think it's the right word. I'm not quite sure what's in the lose your temper with the forest preserved. Being ourselves elves. So I don't know how to read into that track. Is that track about being true to yourself? Is it about being an elf? Is it what the Krol Kleks imagines what being an elf is like? I have questions about this. I think it's meant to make you think. It's also sort of mesmerizing and meditative at the same time. It's an unusual experience, but I'm kind of vibing with it. We've got Viddy Well, track number 2, or rather 3, but you know, I'm doing 7 of these tracks today. Oh, we're starting with tambourines again. We like this kind of tone, don't we? It's kind of psychedelic, isn't it? It reminds me a lot of the music from the 70s, but the luscious reverbs and everything like that. What is Viddy Well about? He spit upon my face, drying up like sand. Wow, guess the gesture wasn't appreciated.
Repentance exercise, just stare into my eyes. The demons caged for life, don't even hear the cries.
I will give it to Krol Kleks. I'm hearing the 90s in this. I hesitate to say grunge. Grunge infers of, these folk, indie, acoustic rock vibes with this massive focus on the wood instruments and the reverbs and all that.
I know I'm strong enough. I'm feeling the effects. Sweet taste of progress.
Nice work holding that note. That wasn't an easy note to hold like that, even though we're not getting a huge amount of vocal ornamentation or dexterity. We're keeping these melodies fairly sort of well considered and conservative. At the same time, I am vibing with the technique that is on display. Holding the note with that similar amount of, emphasis is not an easy thing to do, so that's good. I think that's the benefit of having having a track that's 5.5 minutes long. So it's very, very hot in here. It's like 25 to 30 degrees at the moment. When you have a track this long, you can do stuff like have these instrumental breaks, and I think that's great. It's good use of time. You don't have to be really, really afraid of not repeating your hook line over and over again. Let there be space in a composition as long as something interesting is happening, Or, unless the musical theme is so good that the vibe carries the listener like they're in a trance, Oh, we got some higher vocals now? They're very faint though. I'm liking the dynamic range to this album and the I can tell this has been recorded. That's good. Good, good, good. I dig that. I like the fact that we're having fun with our vocals and exploring our vocal range like that. I think that's great. Never to be found. I mean, I don't know what else to say at this point. I think that a lot of what we've got here was familiar in most parts to being ourselves elves. We've got a similar orchestration set up in regards to the instruments that are here. We've got similar vocal styles. Yeah. It's just understanding the story that's being told occasionally when you get past the instrumental musical theme. I mean, like when I see like the drugs on the album cover, and I'm always cautious about saying this because I never want to take it too literally. Up or down, never to be found. Is this talking about people being on trips? You know, like reaching out the hand and them sort of spitting in your face. Is that trying to reach out to someone who's having issues with like drugs or something like that? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to assume I know more than what I've been provided with. Because sometimes I'll read into it and try and get really stuck into it, and then I'm completely off the mark. But I guess I gotta try, right? It's worth a shot. I mean, I'm here to try and figure this music out, right? Or at least analyze it. That was a ballsy move having that 3 minutes in there for instrumentals aside from the up or down, never to be found. But I think it actually worked in a very surreal way. I'm so used to musicians that I listen to and review not trusting the listener to give a shit beyond the first 30 seconds unless they're grabbing them by the throat and saying, you have to care about what I'm saying to you. Throwing in all sorts of stuff to like overwhelm the listener and force them to pay attention. And it's so sad. But Krol Kleks, man. This is, if you like this kind of music, it's there for you, my dudes and dudettes. It's all yours. I enjoy that. We're not running after people, we're inviting them in. Pen is mightier than the roids. Oh, this is different now. Good. Oh, that's a punchy bass there, isn't it? I'm struggling to understand what the guy is saying with that distortion on his voice. I'm liking the vibe and the atmosphere of the music. I'm liking that there is change from Vidywell and being ourselves, but I cannot quite understand what he's saying. It's okay though. I think I understand the intention. I like this rock and roll 50s groove that we've got here with the bass and the drums and everything. It's solid, man. And that guitar with those rock and roll, rockabilly unison bands and all that kind of stuff. Let there be dissonance, man. It doesn't need to be a sterile mix. We got a harmonica in there too. What don't we have in this album? Survive somehow. I heard gotta go to the gym or gotta hit the gym or something like that. So I'm hearing parts of it. I'm liking how the harmonica just comes in to fill in the gap without the distorted vocals. I adore that. I genuinely do. I think it's a fun thing to have when there is that emptiness there or that space. That's a nice substitution there. That bass line, I love that bass line, how it's just grooving, man. It's solid. It is a solid bass line. Whoever did the bass parts in this, nice. Nice. You know, if you can keep that line going at that speed, dude, sometimes that's all you gotta do. Oh my goodness, as he said, it's such a drag. He's getting angry and angry. Is this because of the steroids? Is this a comment on people that abuse their bodies in order to make muscle? Dude, I am loving the vocal fry. I know I'm interrupting this song a lot, and I'm kind of sorry about that. It's a bad habit of mine, but I need to talk about stuff when I appreciate it. And I'm really, if you like the music, you're welcome to go check out the album. It's on Spotify. But just the guy's got phenomenal vocal technique. That grittiness, that tonality there. I don't necessarily think it's just coming from the throat. I think that there's more power behind it. I love that. It's a really well-written song. Excellent work. Phenomenal work. It's raw fury, dude. That is one of the best displays of emotion I've heard in a song. I love it. I think that's one of the best songs I've heard. Oh, it's fairly easy to say this is one of the best songs I've heard in 2022 because it's just started. But like genuinely, I'm pleased with this. Excellent effort, dude. Smashed it. You know, like you had a three chord progression. You had the drums that were playing a solid eighth note groove throughout, and you had the harmonica occasionally, and the intensity just increased over the 3 and a bit minutes. It's just all you need, man. All you need. Sometimes music can be more of as I've said, more of a vibe than about the story being literally spoon-fed to you. Well, not literally, because that implies you're actually getting fed with a spoon. You know what I mean, spoon-fed. There we go. I'll stop using literally as much. The beach is my monolith. This beach is my monolith, should I say. Again, this is very different. It's gorgeous, dude. Okay, we're going for that normal time there. Fun. It's sort of melancholic, isn't it? But then it's not, because there's plenty of emotion in The Pen is Mightier Than the Roads.
We took a northern drive. I can't believe we're alive. We started walking down our trailblazers going by. This is our secret beach, and you're a favorite leech. We're gonna go for a swim as the lights go dim.
I'm going to go for a swim as the lights grow dim. I also heard him say leech. Is this my favorite beach and you're my favorite leech or something like that? Interesting. I like this pad that's oscillating there. It's got a weird warmth that I haven't really heard anything like it. The drums are very, very quiet though. I've noticed that. Like the drums are barely there. Is that a deliberate thing? I think that can be a deliberate thing. I think the drums, if they were louder, would have been a little bit more kind of driving. And that's maybe not what we want. That's the step beyond being able to level everything out in the mix. It's going, right, what needs to be less prominent? I'm liking how these double-tracked vocals aren't necessarily in time with each other. We've got parts where like you can tell they're clearly sort of a little bit out of sync. And I adore that, man. Like they're not trying to make it crystal perfect, and it actually is. I think it's better at communicating when the vocals are in sync. Obviously, it can be easier to understand what's being said because both people are saying it at exactly the same time. When you have overlapping ones, maybe one's finishing a word after another and then going to the next, it can be a little bit confusing. But if you've got that aesthetic of it being a little bit wavery and a little bit sort of like misty or sort of trippy or whatever, that can be helpful to the atmos that you want. It's all about balancing out what you want to achieve in your music. A little bit of sizzle there. I don't know whether it's a levels thing or like an overdrive drive pedal. It's a really interesting synth though, whatever they're doing there. I love it. I think it's a really fun little addition to this. I think what you've got to also think about as a person, like as a reviewer myself, you know, you're watching a video of me reviewing this. I think the best thing you can do for yourself outside of watching me review it is to actually listen to an album like this without any distractions. Go somewhere quiet. Just sit there and take it in. Let yourself have an experience devoid of distraction. It can be life-changing, I swear, man. Like, some of the music, like, this would be so calming and peaceful to listen to before going to bed, man. Or if you're driving home at night, dude. Maybe you had gone to the beach and you're going home. It's sick, dude. So cool. There does need to be a little bit of change at this part though, potentially. We're getting a little bit more aggressive with the stabs, okay. I think we are changing that wop 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 kind of thing, that groove there. How did they decide where to go? When did they decide to do that? I'm being serious. How do you make these decisions? That's a guitar, isn't it? I've just realized that's a guitar. That must be a guitar. Is that a heavily modulated guitar? It totally is a guitar. Damn, you had me going there, Krol Kleks. I thought that was a synthesizer. Brutal, dude. That's clever. That's something that I haven't heard before. As an instrument seem like one thing and then it transform into the other. I don't know what that track was about, but I enjoyed my time with it nonetheless. Again, it's pretty stunning. That track's so minimally vocal oriented are keeping me engaged because I like my stories, dude, but it's okay. It's okay. This is its own unique experience. And I think that's what will help Krol Kleks to succeed, is by doing something different. We've got Take It Slow. Where's that one? Here we go. We got some repeated takes. Back to that acoustic guitar like with Video L and Being Ourselves Elves. Go with the name H chord, yeah? Did I get it? I totally got it. My ear is getting better. To like a sus4 chord or something like that. Or to a ninth, I suppose.
Looked
Again, there's this dissonance here among the pretty little strumming parts, and I enjoy it. I think it's nice. It's a nice touch, dude. I think that it's kind of... What is the word I'm looking for here? There is a specific one. No, I can't think of the word. It's you know when you're trying to remember a word and it just doesn't come, and you'll remember it after you've done the review. But not where it's important. Oh, okay. Okay, where are we going with this? You're with me. That there is a nice vocal melody there. I like how it harmonizes and resolves itself with the next section, and how it carries over to the next section. There's a clear transition between the hook and then the verse or the interlude or whatever comes next. And this is a love song about taking it slow and watching the garden grow and just enjoying the time together and not rushing it. I like that. I like the appreciation that they realize how happy they are with the other person. I think it's a nice contrast to some of the stuff we've had. Like the pen is mightier than the roids. Is this just different concepts that Krol Kleks wanted to write about? Because I think that's fine. It's a little bit unsettling hearing him take it slow as it fades out. It almost sounds like there's a bit of danger involved with it. But throughout this album so far, I'm learning that like even when there's something that is quite happy, there is a little bit of darkness in there to balance it out, or something a little more sort of sus, you know? Oh. We got some modulation on there. We're really, really slowing it down. Nice. Well done. Taking it slow. Nice. Right, I'm happy with that one. That might have been a love song. There might have been a bit more to it. I was too busy gushing over the other parts of the instrumentation there. We've got 2 tracks to go, I think. I wish I was kin, but instead I'm a failure. That doesn't sound very good. We got a similar vibe to the pen is mightier than the roids. Oh, right. So looking at this person and what they have, and they... Yeah, I don't want to read too much into it yet. That's a very peppy little old rock beat, isn't it? Okay, I'm liking this. I'm getting kind of Weezer kind of vibe from this. Dude, I enjoy this track. That's a fairly catchy hook. That's a fairly catchy hook. I can hear it clearly. There's a distortion there. Some kind of really kind of like raunchy guitars with the drums focusing on some 16th note grooves there. And the bass and just the double track in there and everything's well sort of thought out and considered. And yeah, I think a lot of people wish they were Ken.
Watching you from afar must be nice when you car. Always pretty popular. You're my perfect superstar. Dreamhouse beach on the shore. Lots of gifts, but you want more. Daddy, spoiled little girl. Never bothered to ask what for.
Halftime.
This is it. We are through.
I like that change there where it gets to the parallel minor. Complete change of vibe. Guitar solo. That's kind of like noise rock, isn't it? Oh, so he wasn't good enough, so he's just bailed because he couldn't provide what the daddy's little girl wanted. Damn. I wonder why there's explicit on these. I didn't hear any swear words. Maybe I missed them. That's okay. All right, excellent. Yeah, it was I keep saying vibe. We're exploring a few different genres. There's some folk, acoustic, indie stuff combined with some alt rock, some kind of heavier, thrashy, sort of almost punk elements. And then this Beach is My Monolith was, oh, dude, it was some wave-ish kind of stuff. He had a really interesting, that guitar synthy sound was phenomenal. We've got Wu Wei the People. That's the last track for today. Oh, the tambourines are back. Oh, by the way, before we continue, just so I don't forget, there is also coming off Board of Canada, which is the last track off the album. I just didn't want to hide that. And also, we've got other albums, so if we're keen to check out more of this, then obviously you're more than welcome to. But just give me your heads up. Anyway, Wu Wei the People. Let's continue. Just wanted to give you a heads up. I mean, I know Krol Kleks will know this, but for anyone else watching. What are we going to pull out for this one? Yeah, TV is depressing, isn't it? It's really annoying me that I can't remember that word.
Why can't we get along like humans do? Every person I see says fuck you.
As every person I see says... Ah! Damn. Yeah, it does suck that we can't get along. These are thoughts that I'm sure a lot of people have and then forget when they're rude to each other. we understand music theory and composition, how to tail a section to go into the next. You know, we've got this chromaticism going with the bum 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 that elevates itself above the rest of the strings and the bass and the drums and all that. And again, like the vocals are hypnotic. It's a really interesting situation that we're in. Are the vocals quieter to force us to pay attention to the melody going on with the strings?
Last night we all shook hands. It's about time that I felt common sense. Who would have thought we could get along? Now open up with me and let us sing this song. God, let's get it together now somehow. How long can this go on? It's me,
It kind of sounds like the guitar or that melody that's aside from the vocals is wandering around trying to figure out the answer to the problem.
Don't you know all your idols die?
Oh. We got a violin or a fiddle or something in there. I'm liking that we got a new instrument at this point in the album. It's subtle, but it's there. Is that a double bass? It's just continuing, isn't it? We've got some vocal harmonies on top. Again, it's a ballsy move just to have this much space in the composition, but it works. It's enough. That part on there, it works. And fading out there, or reducing the intensity of the arrangement. Yeah, I wish we'd all hold hands, man. Like having a dream about that. It's kind of crazy how much we all just sort of dislike each other at times. It's a shame that we're so violent. Not everyone is, but a lot of people are. But that is Wu Wei the People. That is the last track that I'll be checking out today. This is a phenomenal record. I will start doing the conclusion now. What do I want to say about this album? I think that, if I take it through the usual style of conclusion I do, or at least the one I've been doing recently, what do I think that the album is about? Because I talked about what the individual tracks were about. I think the album is exploring concept for Krol Kleks. I think that this is more... these are individual sort of ideas or creations that he's put together as maybe being part of a project. I'm trying to figure out what Aquamarine Flouxetine is. I will be right back. So fluoxetine is a type of antidepressant, as I've just found out. So this could have been stuff. Maybe Krol Kleks wrote this music while they were taking medication or something like that. Maybe they did it was as like a healing thing or something like that. I'm not sure. But I do think that this was more of a sort of a journey for Krol Kleks, and I feel like it was handled really well. Most of these tracks were between sort of 4 and 6 minutes. I think that that's the length they needed to be. I think that it enabled Krol Kleks to explore the themes that they wanted to, while also showing their ability as musicians, to, like as a musician, because obviously this is Philip's solo project, as I understand it, to explore their musical creativity as well as to perform the various instruments involved and to sort of just talk about what they want to. I think that it's a great combination of different concepts. We had Being Ourselves Elves, which is, as I understand it, taken being an elf and taking care of the forest, and how could you be mad if the world around you is okay. And Vidywell, I mean, we talk about spitting in the face and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure what that track was about. It could have been about being high and not wanting to come down. The pen is mightier than roids. I assume that's someone who's maybe struggling with dependency on their steroids and they just get too far into it at the end. The beach is my monolith. Maybe it's like, I don't know how to take the beach is my monolith. It talked about wanting to have a swim and not coming out, or maybe coming home from it, or being a really special place to them, whether it's metaphorical or literal, I'm not sure. And then I wish I was Ken, but instead I was a failure, was coping with maybe not being what someone expects you to be and not living up to people's expectations, and just making a decision about what you do with that. And then we were the people about not getting along and people telling you to F off and wanting people to get along and get their hands together. I think that there was some really interesting sort of stories that were explored there. I think that the vocals told the story in a way where, it was well done for the most part, really, really well done. We had songs which were primarily, I think, through composed. Aside from The Pen is Mightier Than Roids and I Wish I Was Ken, most of these tracks had sort of an A section that sometimes went into a B, but you had this one main riff that you told the story over, and then you had a lot of real estate for instrumental little harmonica bits or violin bits, strings, or some synthy parts. But the sheer difference in the way that some of these tracks are approached, Vidywell, Being Ourselves Elves, were obviously very, very similar, but then you also had the situation where, Beach is My Monolith is very different to Vidywell, and The Pen is Mightier Than Roids is very different to them again. I liked the fact that we explored different sounds and tones. I think that was a great way of approaching things. I enjoyed the fact that we didn't try to stick within that one type of sound that we had within the first couple, because I am not sure if I would have enjoyed the album as much if that was the case. I think that sometimes the style of music was very... it was symbolic of what the lyrics were about. So, you had The Pen is Mightier Than Roids, very aggressive, very in your face, very kind of overwhelming. Same with I Wish I Was Ken, and even Being Ourselves Elves was like, you can imagine them wandering through a forest. And The Beach is My Monolith, you can imagine him going to the beach and taking a swim in it, being that kind of weird, that tone going through the night with those guitars and the bass and drums and such. The performances on the instruments were very well done, I think, for the most part. I was very happy to hear the recordings and the performances. I liked them even when we didn't necessarily have all of the instruments strumming at the same time. There were occasional points where one guitar might have been out with time with the other, but I think that gives them more of a live vibe, and I think that's great. And with the vocals went off on their own little journeys and adventures. Sometimes the harmonies weren't entirely in tune with each other, but I think that is good. Again, we don't really need to sterilize a performance. We can have it be a little bit raw. For the most part, I think the intentions were good. I think that the vocal performance and the technique put on display hang on a minute. I got another 7 of these to do over the week, so I can't go and screw my voice tonight. Yeah, I think that the vocals were... They matched the genre of music. and I think that they were appropriate to emoting what the story was about at that point in time. And I think the intensity dynamics of the music and the instruments reflected that as well. It was clearly really well considered and thought out. There was an organic nature to it, but there was also someone behind the helm who clearly knows how to write interesting, engaging music. Because again, we just had moments of expanse where I was happy to vibe along to it. I think it was great. I didn't get bored once, and especially with longer tracks that can happen. So well done to Krol Kleks. For the last part, the production, recording, mixing, and mastering. I know at one point I said that I thought the drums were a bit quiet. I think it's because I'm used to the drums smashing your face in with a lot of genres of music I listen to. The style of production's great. You could hear all the different instruments in there. The panning was done well. The levels were great. The EQing, the spatial spacing of the instruments in the stereo field, compression, limiting, reverb, delay tails. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And Krol Kleks needs to be proud of themselves for what they managed to accomplish here. I suppose the final thing is, how did this album make me feel? I think this album made me feel like I understood Krol Kleks better as an individual. I would like... Their music is interesting. I think I'd need to be in a certain kind of mood to listen to it. Like, obviously if I'm in a really good mood or in a really bad mood, might not necessarily be the vibe I'm looking for. And I know I said vibe a lot, you know, but if you're just kind of like traveling somewhere, or you need something that can accompany you or maybe open your mind a little bit, Krol Kleks is what you're looking for. And effectively, this is my review of Aquamarine Flouxetine by Krol Kleks. Thank you very much for watching this review. If you enjoyed this video, please do go show Krol Kleks some love via the various social media and the Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch your next review. Spider hands up.